When I pull up, I clear the block out. Keep me a shorty, he'll break a jaw, call him knockout. Thought he a cheater, but ain't a thing that I don't know about.
All right,
Edwin. So we're up here in episode 7, dude.
7.
Let's start off with Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Because I think that's probably been the most,
The biggest, the most talked about and looked forward to fight of the whole weekend. I agree.
yeah, it's the one with the most hype, the most buzz, and surprising results. I think because everything else, there was some disappointment in the UFC main event a little bit. So we'll get into that after we talk about the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight.
Okay.
What did you, how did you have the card scored? Like just
that's
let's see
that's the thing. That's the weird thing, because I thought I had it pretty even. Because this is the thing. This is only an 8-round fight. It's not even like a full boxing fight. Usually, championship fights are 12. Normal fights are 10. This is somehow 8. I don't know how they get away with that. Whatever. But to the 8th round, I had it about even 4 for 4, I guess.
That's okay. So the way I had it on mine, so I think we had it the same. Basically, Jake Paul had to land a knockdown in the last round to get the win.
Yeah.
And he did.
And he did. He just that one little knockdown. It wasn't bad, Anderson got sat on his butt. He got right back up. He just got caught on the exit.
Off the clinch, dude.
Yeah.
Right off the clinch. That's where he got caught. And oh my god, dude.
It was on the exit and he just got popped. Yeah. I was as soon as that punch landed, I was like, son of a bitch.
I felt like, so when the fight was going on, throughout the whole fight, first of all, the commentary for Showtime sucks so bad.
It was so biased.
And they don't know what they're talking about.
It was mostly Mauro Ronaldo and I don't know the other guys.
I don't even know who was commentating. I was just like annoyed the whole event, not just the, like I didn't feel like I was being biased for Silva or anything. But they were kept, saying that like Jake Paul was landing, like it was landing on his gloves, guys, or like he's making reads like the first round or two. The thing I will say about Silva, aside from the fact that he was making reads, and made it, kind of a slow fight in the first couple rounds, was that he was taking at least 2 minutes off every round.
Yeah, he turned it on like the last minute of every round is when they got interesting. The rest of them, I agree, he toyed with them. He, put his hands to his side, 8 punches, did the Anderson Silva thing, and I was like, don't do this. I was so nervous because of I didn't want a repeat of the Chris Weidman incident, but
same, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that Anderson took the rounds off slightly, but he made Jake Paul fight.
Yeah, he brought it to him, which I thought was supposed to be the other way around. Like Jake Paul should bring the fight to Anderson Silva.
A good majority of the fight, Jake was against the ropes.
When it came down to I guess you can call it rope-a-dope, right, or whatever, like or anything that was close range, anything in the pocket, Anderson Silva was miles and miles and miles ahead of Jake Paul.
His inside short uppercut, that was money the whole fight.
Yeah, that was winning him the fight, or that's at least what had me have them so close. Yeah. Because in a way I could see Paul was doing. He honestly he impressed me. But I also don't know how much of that is like, Anderson Silva was almost 50 years old. Yeah. He did take a couple of rounds off every now and then.
Yeah, it was. I think that when the fight went on, they were alternating rounds, like one, Paul, then Anderson, then Paul, and I think that's how the fight really went.
It was fairly entertaining. It was a lot more entertaining than I expected it to be. It was a lot more entertaining than, I don't know. Was it high level? No. Like,
no.
Is Jake Paul going to beat Canelo anytime soon? No. That's not going to happen. But did he gain some respect? I think he did, at least some, he did beat a legend in Anderson Silva, regardless of his age. Do I think Anderson Silva? I also think Anderson Silva could have finished that fight. It's multiple different times. It kind of gave me like the same vibe as the Tyron Woodley fight, where you had a couple of instances where Tyron Woodley, if he would have let his hands go, could have knocked him out. Yeah. Didn't do it. Anderson Silva, same way. He had some points in there where he was looking good, like aggressive, coming at him, hitting him with them uppercuts, and wasn't able to finish at any point. Again, usually towards the end of the round.
Yeah, that's the end of the round is when it really got exciting. But Jake Paul did it, and Anderson. I was expecting to maybe even retire if he lost this because he could at any moment now. But he's gonna continue fighting, I guess.
Yeah, Anderson strikes me as the type of guy that probably won't really consider retirement as a serious option anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
He he's a legend, but he's also one of those people that you might have to
Sit him
force.
down, yeah.
Yeah,
Sit him and be like, dude, nobody's gonna sanction your fights.
yeah.
But no, I
He
mean,
looked pretty good though.
he
He
looked
looked pretty
good.
good.
He looked good. He's still got hands. It's just MMA he can't do. That's just it.
How sad or disappointed or angry
Crushed.
are
Yeah.
the average MMA fan? Because
The average ones probably don't even know. Like a diehard fan would be upset.
I
Casuals, yeah,
guess
yeah.
um maybe, but well, yeah. But when you look back at highlights of Anderson Silva and like you get who he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's crazy to see that is how it all ended up.
Yeah,
Um,
that was all Anderson before the Weidman knockout, which I don't think he ever really came back from that. And then after that, he did break his leg in half, so it's understandable he's not going to be the same after that.
yeah,
Plus,
no,
he was
that
a
was
lot
just the
younger back then.
worst. That
Yeah,
was the worst
nasty.
injury I've ever seen in the middle of a match, dude.
So yeah, and I mean it's understandable. I mean he was, the highlights there from young Anderson Silva and before big losses or injuries. So that's gonna change a fighter.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is going to change a fighter. He did seem a lot more in good spirits this time around, though.
Yeah,
We'd seen like a I don't know more depressed Anderson Silva, and now this time around he seemed high in his hopes. I mean, he was probably going to make more money doing that fight with Jake Paul than maybe any other fight that he's done in the UFC. Um,
that's hard to tell. I mean,
it is
earlier
hard,
today
but
I did see that. Let's see, Jake Paul is guaranteed 1.5 million for the fight, and Anderson Silva is guaranteed 500,000 for the fight. But they're also splitting pay-per-view revenue. So Jake is getting, was it 65% and Anderson's getting 35%.
I saw that. I saw that as well.
So
So we'll see how much they sold.
it depends on how much they sold, but like on TV, it looked like it was packed, but that arena was not packed at all.
I'll tell you right now, dude. It was
I
not
got
as
the
packed.
screenshot, dude. I got the screenshot. I took a screenshot of that Ticketmaster map. Is not good. And they cut ticket prices in half on Fight Week.
I'm telling you, dude. I hadn't bought any because I wasn't sure if I even. First of all, I forgot about it after a while,
I got a picture here.
and then
I'll put it up.
Fight Week
See,
by
look at all those blue dots. That's not a sold out arena. That's about
no,
half
not at
full.
all, not at all. And I'll tell you this, dude. Fight Week, or like just maybe a couple of days before it was actual Fight Week, I looked into tickets again because I remembered, and I was like,
Why
okay, I
not,
want to
right?
watch. Yeah, like what else am I gonna do that day? Probably. So
Pumpkin patch.
yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
that's morning activity.
Do they have those in Arizona?
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
okay. I'm gonna say that's all
Right
we
now,
have
it's
here.
actually kind of
We got
chilly,
we
but
got hella
anyway,
donuts here. Yeah.
we shit. What were we talking about? No.
Fight revenue and seating and
Seating. So we're thinking about buying tickets, right?
yeah.
And I'm looking online, and they end up having like I don't remember how much they were to begin with, but
Okay.
I remember seeing $35 tickets.
I remember how much they were because I texted you about it. We mentioned maybe even going. Let's see, 200 level were about $75.
Yeah, cut in half.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah, and then 100 level were about like 250, and then when they cut it, they were like 110, 113 ish. I'm like, that's not a good sign, dude.
Yeah, dude. I almost went just because I saw that ringside tickets were like $110.
That's crazy.
And they had a lot of room. I even
They have a
told
lot. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? We're gonna get these tickets and sit. We're gonna get 200 level tickets and sneak down because you totally probably could.
Oh yeah, they as long as it looks full, it's totally valid.
Also, it looked fuller than the blue dots online told you. So I'm like, did they give away tickets? Because
Probably.
the arena, formerly known as Gila River Arena, now Desert Diamond Arena, because the Desert Diamond Casino out here in Glendale bought it recently. They bought
Sure.
the arena. So these dudes, I wonder if it's in Westgate Entertainment District, so they got like a bunch of restaurants, bars, and other shit like around where the arena is.
Oh, you
So
think they gave it away like a Happy Meal deal?
maybe like
You
like
know?
because you're walking around all of this
Yeah.
entertainment nightlife thing that they built in Glendale, and I'm wondering like was there some type of like here's like a discounted ticket if you eat at our like I don't know. I wasn't
Hmm.
there. I didn't go for any of the they had a bunch of events like their aside from the weigh-ins and stuff they had like them warming up the day before and shit
Yeah,
like
the
that,
open workouts and stuff.
open workouts. I didn't go to any of that though. But yeah, I wonder if they gave away tickets because it looked more full than you know.
On TV, it's like that's not what I saw on the map, but yeah, no. And I mean, there was rumor before for Jake Paul's last fight in August that they hadn't even sold half the tickets for Madison Square Garden, and that's a very expensive arena because they have a union, and it costs at least $500,000 to just turn the lights on. So there's things to consider, because you have to pay the workers, the vendors, the security,
Hmm.
tickets people. It's a lot of money. It's not just for the fighters. There's people, ring crew, setup, production, and you have to be able to cover that.
Yeah, ticket prices. I am also curious how the pay-per-view sold because I don't. If I had to guess a number, it didn't make 500,000 views or
And
buys.
they wanted what, like $75 for it?
I don't even know how much they
I
were
think that's
charging.
what I think. I looked it up and it was like 75. I'm like, no, that's not worth that money.
No,
20
no.
bucks, final offer.
Yeah, I will say that my stream crashed like for half the fight,
Mine
but
didn't.
you, you need to pass me your link because I was so pissed
What are you
off.
talking about? We don't stream fights here.
that
Shh.
fight, that fight is whatever, dude. Because
Yeah.
yeah, but
So
anyway,
what's Anderson will live to fight another day. Fight some. He'll be in a circus show next, probably, or whatever. But Jake Paul, after the fight, he did call out Nate Diaz.
and Canelo Alvarez.
That's not. He's been doing Canelo forever. That's just not even. That's
That's
not
so
even a joke.
not plausible at all, dude. I
No,
mean, obviously we didn't see the boxing match of the century. Like we didn't see Terrence Crawford versus um
Spence.
Spence. We didn't see that fight, obviously.
Right?
Like nothing near that level. But
No.
it was entertaining for sure. He's
Yeah.
not at that level to fight somebody like
Oh
Canelo.
no.
No.
No, but he did call out Nate, which that'd be an okay fight. But the one fight I'd like to see him do actually that's more on his level and more fair would be to try and rebook that fight with Tommy Fury that was supposed to happen. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I guess from like a boxing perspective, I don't know.
'Cause
To be honest,
I don't want to keep seeing him fight old people or people that have never been boxers. Let's put him against another young boxer
I can see. Yeah, I think.
that will take the fight. Because
Are
I
you
mean,
are are you just scared to see Nate Diaz get his ass knocked out, dude?
a little
Cause
bit.
cause I might be. I
I
when
might
he
be,
knocked
but
down Anderson Silva, I think I almost cried.
oh, I
I was
guess I
like,
was
damn.
like, oh, I was taken aback.
I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, it was yeah. I had that goddamn it moment too. It was pretty bad.
If Nate Diaz, okay, I would rather watch the Nate Diaz fight. One, the
Okay.
hype behind that would be fun.
Oh, the trash talk would be great.
It would be great, and that's what it is. It's entertainment. It's not like the high level, you know,
It's
stuff that we usually want to talk about.
it's not made the best man. No, they're gonna they're Nate's one of the least professional guys. He's gonna make it personal. He's gonna talk smack. It'll be fun.
He started something in the back.
Yeah, he got kicked out of the arena
Yeah,
or
or
something.
he just left. I don't know if he actually got kicked
Depends
out,
who
but
you
I
ask. Yeah.
know he slapped somebody.
Yeah, he tried to
from
start.
Jake Paul's team.
Yeah, it was Team Diaz against Team Paul, I guess. But that'd be a
But
fun fight to make,
yeah,
and it would bring exposure to Nate's new fight promotion. Was it Real Fight Inc?
yeah.
That would bring exposure to that, so I could see that being a more likely fight.
And I think that's the whole reason why Diaz didn't resign with the UFC. He knew that this opportunity was here. So I think that's the most likely thing that's going to happen next is going to be Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. Both of them have nothing bigger to do. I think Diaz is still on like the way the UFC contracts are set up is like they have some 90-day clause or some shit like that
Yeah.
where even after you don't re-sign with them, they have the right to match whatever next offer you get and take you back.
Oh,
So
that's like
so fighters are really trapped on these contracts, dude. They are so trapped in like different levels because even now we a couple months ago or whatever when he was supposed to fight Kamaev, we were like, he's out of this contract. But like, no, he's actually not, apparently. Like he still has a month or two to be fully exonerated or whatever of his contract.
And speaking of fighters that are out of contracts, like it was one nice face to see at this event was George St. Pierre. And he's now a free agent and he was able to appear on Showtime. So that was cool.
That was cool to see GSP on there. They all have, something's going on for real that I do appreciate about this whole thing. With Jake Paul and Anderson Silva talking about a bet where if Jake Paul won, they would do like this fighter union type of thing, pretty much for MMA fighters, to have them have more benefits, get paid more, healthcare, all that type of stuff, which is great. I wonder if that's the reason that like a GSP was also there co-promoting someone that's felt screwed by the company. A little bit as Anderson Silva has. There's also, a lot of UFC fighters were at the event watching. You had Paulo Costa, Cyborg, who he's now in Bellator or whatever, but was in UFC.
Still a fighter.
Sean O'Malley was at the fights. I think I said Paulo Costa. I forgot. Oh, Nate Diaz obviously was at the fights. So, Ariel Helwani, who hates Dana White.
Oh yeah, you have a very anti Dana White group there, basically.
Yeah, so it's they're trying to make that fighter union a thing.
It's not the first time there's been an attempt at being a fighter union. Other UFC fighters have tried to band together, and there's never much weight to it. There's a lot of talk, no walk to that. So
it's because I think Dana really lobbies really well.
Yeah.
He knows how to play that game.
Yeah.
And who knows what goes behind closed doors too,
Right.
So but anyway, Jake Paul, Nate Diaz is the fight to make. And I think the most likely fight to get made, the one that would generate the most hype, the most money.
I was gonna say that a Nate Diaz fight will make more money than a Tommy Fury fight.
Yeah, for sure. Way more money. That fight might actually make over 500,000 buys.
I mean, yeah. And it'll all be because of Nate Diaz. I mean, he's on, was it for the top UFC fights? His 2 fights with Conor McGregor are, what is it? Aren't they in the top 5 fights of most pay-per-view fights for UFC?
Yeah. Yeah, all of Conor's fights.
Well, Conor's, but I mean, Nate's on them. So, I mean, I count that because that was a big, it's both part of Nate and Conor, but, his fights have sold the most.
Yeah. Yeah, Diaz would definitely bring in a lot of attention, especially now that Jake Paul actually beat Anderson Silva. I wish I was here talking about how Anderson Silva made Jake Paul look like so stupid and like of course this was gonna happen and Anderson Silva would dominate, but that didn't happen. So it's like I'm like, okay, who is gonna do it? I don't know if Diaz is gonna be the one to do it. He gets hit a lot. He's I wouldn't be surprised if Paul hits him.
He is older. His conditioning wasn't there in the Tony Ferguson fight.
How much is it that he's going to actually get ready for it? Or just like,
just go in and,
chubby, getting be all chiefed up, like, and not, fully focused about everything.
It'll be a heavier Nate Diaz because Nate's usually fought at 170 in the UFC, and in boxing, Jake Paul's gonna force it to be a cruiserweight fight, so it'll be around 190. So that's an extra 20 pounds to carry. So that's something to consider.
What would be your prediction if that was the next Jake Paul fight?
I want Nate Diaz to knock him out. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to bet on Jake Paul, but I would definitely like to see Nate Diaz finally just end the whole circus show.
Yeah. I don't know if that would happen.
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about Diaz being like really good boxer in training, and like he's had sparring partners that are professional boxers that have given him props for his boxing abilities. But in the UFC, he gets caught even by guys that aren't necessarily the best. I mean, I guess McGregor and like Leon Edwards touched him a lot, but he gets hit a lot.
Yeah.
And
he's got a lot of scar tissue on his face. He'll probably bleed on that fight.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything. Like maybe I'm just butthurt that Paul's making all these UFC fighters look like nothing. Well, not nothing, but not as big. I feel like there was a lot of instances where Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva kind of give him some pitter patter punches instead of.
Think it's rigged?
I feel like I'd sound like too much of a hater and like they know it's not rigged, because what I saw yesterday was actually a pretty entertaining, pretty competitive fight, and they actually hit each other. Tyron Woodley not throwing any punches, and then
that's suspicious, but that's kind of how Tyron fights, though. So,
but it is how he fights, right? Like that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight was, one of them I think was boring, and one of them was maybe.
The first one was good at 205, then the rematch was just boring.
Neither of them threw shit. They were just kind of like
just standing and feigning it. Just 25 minutes of feinting back and forth. It's like somebody throws a punch. Yeah. Don't just pretend like you're gonna throw a punch.
And that's how it was. Even this one, even though it had its entertaining spots, there was still like a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, if the Nate fight doesn't get made, there was somebody else that did call him out on the card, and that was Uriah Hall.
Yes, who was also on the card.
Yeah.
Who did he fight? He fought
Le'Veon Bell, the former NFL player. I don't even know what team he was on.
Me neither. When that fight first got announced, I thought it was disrespectful to Uriah Hall.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm sure he didn't have the best UFC career. He did win the Ultimate Fighter, didn't he?
I was going to say he was on it. I don't know if he won it.
I think he won off of that spinning.
I remember the spinning kick knockout. That was pretty cool.
Maybe out. Well, maybe I would need to look that up because I'm not sure. But he was still in the UFC. Didn't have the best career. Kind of, a little bit of a letdown in a way.
He was at middleweight.
But his thing was stand up, and he's gonna fight a guy that, even though top athlete, which is very important, and also something that's missing in MMA is that like not all the top athletes go to MMA because it's not one of the most lucrative options there are for sports. So the best athletes do choose football and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But he still never trained in it, so I expected Uriah Hall to just murk him.
Yeah, like just treat him like a punching bag, hit him at will. But we didn't see that.
No, we saw a fat Uriah Hall, compared to how he looked, and. Even though I thought he was walking him down and kind of like not really concerned with what he was getting hit with, he still got caught with body shots, especially that jab to the body that Bell was doing. That shit pretty good. And I also saw whenever Uriah Hall did turn it up, he looked like the much better striker.
Oh yeah,
he just didn't keep it on.
He was, to me, what was more concerning was his stance. He was just standing up real straight and just his hands were tucked in, and yeah, I don't know. He was just moving really, really slow. He
was just kind of like, I don't know, like just very slowly.
Literally, that was it. Yeah. So I don't know if the Nate fight doesn't get made, Uriah will probably fight him because he's all about that money right now and being in the boxing scene.
I'm not interested in all at that fight. I know that Uriah Hall, called for it, but I don't care about Jake Paul fights in general. Except this fight is one of the only ones that really got me like interested in watching, but mostly because I wanted Anderson to win.
Yeah.
And I thought he would easily. but I was wrong. He didn't win. I thought it was closer than the judges. The judges, gave some crazy scorecard that I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's definitely off.
they gave what maybe Anderson had like 2 rounds or something like that, something crazy. I was like, the fight was way more closer than that. It was like I thought it was even until that was it 6th round or no 8th round knockdown. And
Yeah.
yeah, that pretty much sealed the
But
deal
then
there.
as soon as that happened, I was like, damn, I think
Like
Jake
there
Paul
it
won.
goes. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, it's sad. Yeah. So I don't care about that Uriah Hall fight at all. And you know what? I guess I don't even know if I care about the Tyson Fury fight, but then at least that way he fought an actual, person that's
Oh,
training
Tommy,
just
yeah.
boxing,
Yeah.
and that's professional, like Tommy Fury. Um, that would be interesting to see, especially if Jake Paul won that fight. But what would that mean, by the way, if Jake Paul beat Tommy Fury, would he be considered a professional boxer? I
Uh,
mean, kind of is already because he's getting paid for it, but
I would say at
legitimate.
that point he's a boxer that's still building himself up until he gets like a title fight or beats an actually big name or fights somebody that people will actually recognize and that's not old or retired or anything. I think that'll make him legitimate finally if he beats a somebody more worthy of him.
Yeah, I the only fight I am interested in though is the Nate Diaz fight, and
Yeah.
I'm also a little like, I don't know if Nate Diaz, if Nate Diaz is the guy. Um, I don't know. I'd watch it. I would think and would
Yeah.
hope that Diaz would school him, but I don't know if he would.
Yeah. I'd be going into that fight with the same hopes that I did with this fight. So we'll see.
Interesting fight. Well, we'll see what's next for all of them. Um, we also had you. So we talked about Uriah Hall. We also had Chris Avila, who did fight in the UFC
Yeah.
for a fight or two. I don't know.
He wasn't in there that long.
Yeah,
He beat up a doctor.
Dr. Mike schooled his ass.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I thought both of them looked sloppy. That was such a like, you know, I
There's a
didn't
reason
enjoy that fight at
there's
all.
a
But
reason that was the first fight on the card.
yeah, both definitely not boxers. They're not high level boxers at least.
Mm-mm.
Um, what did they think was going to happen though? You,
I mean, a big portion of pretty much the whole card is a giant mismatch if you look at them all. So I'm sure maybe they were either gonna. I'm sure they were probably trying to from Jake Paul's promotional end. They're probably trying to embarrass one of Nate Diaz's guys because he does train with him.
yeah, he's part of
Chris
that
Avila.
Diaz army.
Yeah, so maybe they're trying to embarrass him in that way, or just trying to get. I don't know. The fights there don't make sense. They have former basketball players, former football players, rappers. It's like I don't know. It's a circus show.
It is. It was completely. So, do you got anything else about that card, or you were trying to move on to the fight night that we had?
We had another a better boxing fight on that night, and it was the return of Vasily Lomachenko. This was a weird fight. See, because Lomachenko is 16-2 professionally, and Jermaine Ortiz is like 16-0, so it makes sense why they were matched up. But overall, I know I expected this should just be like a washout. I didn't expect this fight to go the distance, which it did. Because Lomachenko has what's his 400 fight amateur record, so he's clearly the more prepared and seasoned fighter. But this fight went the distance. It was a lot closer than anybody anticipated, even
Yeah,
though the judges didn't see it that way. At the end, the scores were all lopsided towards Lomachenko. But
that's boxing.
yeah, that's boxing. They were like, oh, he won all but like 2 or 3 rounds. I'm like, no, he lost a few. And, you know, I think part of that comes with the fight being so close. It comes with Jermaine Ortiz. He's a former sparring partner of Lomachenko. He's been in camp with him for 5 weeks for the Richard Comey fight. So, he knows his movements. He knows how he could move and such. So he was definitely a lot more prepared than anybody gave him credit for. And he showed it. He showed it in the fight, especially in the first half of the fight. Ortiz started the fight very, very strong, very fast paced, which is good because Lomachenko is a slow starter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those first few rounds, he downloads your information. He doesn't do much because he's reading you and scanning you, and you know he sees the matrix.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's when Jermaine brought it in, and it is smart to get Lomachenko uncomfortable, but you know it kind of cost Ortiz his energy. He was kind of winded by round 5. He had slowed down significantly. So you know he beat Lomachenko to the punch. His work on the inside was amazing. Another little detail I noticed that was really good on his part. He changed angles and turned at the same time that Lomachenko did, because you know Lomachenko is like famous for hitting you and not being there when you blink again. You know he's very good at working the angles. Yeah, but this kid was turning with him, so they were constantly in each other's face. But then you know by round 5 and such, Lomachenko read him and he just beat him. He hurt him. He picked his shots. Lomachenko was more successful with some quick blitzes when he would do 4 or 5 punch combos. Those really caught Ortiz off guard, but you know Lomachenko really showed up championship rounds. You know the later end of the fight, that's when he really turned it on, and I think it was a lot closer fight. I scored it maybe 8-4, maybe 7-5. You can make that argument, but you know it wasn't like a landslide victory.
Yeah, a lot closer fight than most people thought it would be.
Yeah.
Including myself. I mean, I thought, Lomachenko, he comes with all this hype,
Yeah.
So you expect him to dominate that fight, but it ends up being a pretty close fight. What does that mean for Loma? I mean,
after the fight, Devin Haney walked into the ring, and they had a little face-off and some little back and forth smack talk. So I'm sure that's the fight they're going to try to make.
That's a fun fight, man.
Yeah, no, Lomachenko is back for his belts. He wants his belts back. You know, he lost the belt to Teofimo in a one-sided. No, not one-sided. It was a close fight. His shoulder was injured. He had a couple fights, then he went away to war in the Ukraine. Then he just now came back. So yeah, the crowd in New York was very pro-Ukraine. Even Alexander Usyk was there, so that was cool. But no, yeah, they both had a little face-off, and that's in a perfect scenario or storytelling, Lomachenko wins undisputed.
Do you see him beating Haney?
That's an interesting thought. Let's see. Lomachenko is naturally a featherweight, so he's had to go up in weight to be at lightweight, and Haney is too big for this division. He can't stay. He won't be able to stay in it too much longer. So there's a slight advantage for Lomachenko in that sense, I guess. But I think Lomachenko could beat him. It'll be a close and interesting fight, but I would side with Vasily Lomachenko. If he's completely healthy, if his shoulder's fine and everything, I think he can take Haney.
That's a good fight. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see that fight. I think Haney has the tools to take care of Lomachenko.
Haney's a good fighter. I'm not taking anything from him, but I mean Lomachenko. He's only in 16 fights. He has a record for least amount of fights before a title fight. It's 3. He's a 3-division champion already. So he's no slouch. He's something very special.
He definitely is something very special. And he's shown at least glimpses of that. And he's definitely special. He's got a really fun style. He's sneaky with it,
Mm-hmm.
He's slick. He's precise. The footwork is great. His dad or something put him in dancing classes or something when he was a
Yeah,
child, wasn't he?
started
It's
him
like,
off with boxing to learn the basics, and then took him out and put him in folk dancing. So that's how his footwork is just amazing, I guess.
yeah. So he's a special one.
Hmm.
That's a good fight though. That's a
So
one that I mean, hopefully gets made.
yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, that's the only fight that I think makes sense for Lomachenko at this point. There's no other real big name, the lightweight. There's Shakur Stevenson, who's now in the division, but he's got ways to go before he fights Lomachenko. And of course, we do have Ryan Garcia fighting Tank Davis sometime soon, hopefully. So, yeah, that leaves only Haney and Loma.
Yeah, that I really hope Tank Garcia happens. I don't see
They're in
Garcia winning that
talks.
fight, but
It's a fun fight.
yeah, Tank's got a deadly right though.
Got power. That'll be a fun fight when that happens. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much good for all the boxing for this past weekend. What else did we have, Abe?
We had UFC Fight Night, Kattar
Yes.
versus Allen. So Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen. A fight that I anticipated a lot. I really was hoping to see a war between two
Hmm.
guys that are, really known for their boxing.
Hmm.
They like to scrap. They've taken a lot of damage, particularly Calvin Kattar,
Oh
who
yeah.
had something like 7.5 significant strikes landed per minute, which is insane. It's like you're asking to have CTE at the end of your career with that
Yeah.
number. Most of those probably had to do with the Max Holloway fight, but where
Max put it on him that day. We don't talk about that.
he
Max was
got
like,
massacred that fight, dude.
he was in another dimension. He was in another realm that day. But
That time where he, taunted at him and was like, "I'm the best boxer," and like moved out of the way, like that. It's a clip that they show all the time.
oh yeah, he was talking to DC, I think, and
Yeah,
dodging punches at the same time.
so sick. Holloway's such a gangster for that, but
That's a gangster
he did
moment.
that against Calvin Kattar, who's considered a good boxer.
Yeah, he's got knockout power. He's knocked out quite a few people. He's beat top contenders. He's pretty much been within the top five of the featherweight division for a while.
Yeah, solid hands. Like you said, a lot of power. Um, I think he's okay. So the fight ended
Yeah,
via technically it was a TKO.
right.
Okay,
Second round TKO, 8 seconds in, due to
Ar-
knee injury.
yeah, that was a nasty, unfortunate event that ended the fight a lot earlier than we wanted it to end. But Arnold Allen did put it on Calvin Kattar for the short amount of time that they were fighting. He hurt him and might have been part of the reason why that injury occurred.
Because was it they showed clips, the injury, like it was apparent, I guess, when Cater went from like a for a high knee, didn't he? He did a jumping knee, and when he landed, his knee kind of shifted, kind of funny,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you're like, oh, there's something wrong there.
Looks
But
like either some type of um, you know, knee ligament tear or something, or some like fluxation of like his uh shin bone, like his tibia and his knee joint, like something there. I'm not exactly sure if they mentioned what exactly the injury was,
not
but
yet.
it was something near his knee, right? It would make a lot of difference what type of injury it was as to how long Cater might be out.
Yeah,
But either way, it looked nasty, and it sucks because it was pretty early on in the second round, and
yeah. Just when they were just getting started, and it just ended. Not the first time we've seen it. It won't be the last time we see an injury like that.
a lot
But
of freak injuries this year,
yeah,
particularly that end fights like that. So that sucks. But
yeah,
expected to see a war, didn't really see it. I think Arnold Allen showed up pretty well.
yeah. He was ready to fight.
Um, yeah, what do you think is next for both of these guys? I mean, Cater, who knows how long he'll be out for?
Right. Cater, I don't know, but I'd like to see Arnold Allen versus either Josh Emmett or Yair. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if they made that either his next fight for an interim featherweight title. That
Okay.
was brought up, and it's totally plausible because Volkanovski will be busy.
Yeah, against Islam Makhachev and
Yep, in Perth.
Perth. That's a good card. They also want Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling on that card.
I thought that. Wait. Oh, that's right. Never mind. I was thinking of the flyweights. Never mind.
Yeah,
That's in
dude,
Brazil.
that fight that would be cool. That would be an
But yeah,
awesome fucking card.
but yeah, I think it'll be for an. I think it justifies an interim title fight just to have a legitimate contender. Because otherwise, right now, what Calvin Kattar's injured, Brian Ortega's injured. It just leaves those three guys. One of them has to get the next title fight against Volkanovski. So why not make a interim title fight just to have a definitive answer?
Yeah, yeah. And it could be Arnold Allen. It could be Emmett Ortega Rodriguez.
Yair, I think Yair could be in
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but yeah, that's what's next for them. Otherwise, I don't know. Freak accident, crappy ending.
Yeah.
What else did we have that night?
So co-main event for Kattar versus Allen was the Max Payne Griffin versus Tim Means fight. Um, round three, it went all the way to round three, and
Yeah.
Max Griffin won by decision. I think it was a split decision.
There was a lot of grappling in this fight.
Yeah, one knockdown for Griffin,
Mhm.
but
I think that's what edged it because otherwise, it's kind of lackluster.
yeah, it wasn't as exciting of a fight as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had Max Payne Griffin winning that fight, but I thought he would finish it.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to go the distance, especially with, Tim Means is an old guy. He's a veteran.
Yeah, yeah, veteran. Um, whatever, so it wasn't super entertaining to me, I don't think. Um, Cortez Acosta versus
Jared Bandera. Okay, so
Rivera.
I know we predicted Cortez Acosta to win, which he did, but he went to the decision. Also, we expected a knockout because all of his other fights have been by knockout. This is the one fight that doesn't end by knockout.
And he almost had it, but dude, Bandera was kicking his leg so many times.
That took his power.
Cortez Acosta does not know how to check leg kicks, apparently. They didn't check a single leg kick that I can think of. Got it chewed up. He was headhunting though. So he ends up getting the win by, I think, overall just damage and strikes landed to the head.
Mm-hmm.
The commentary was like Michael Bisping and Dominic Cruz. They were talking about how they thought that Bandera had so many leg kicks and how they prefer to take a leg kick than a head jab or just a jab to the head.
Mm-hmm.
But I disagreed. I think it was a good call that Cortez Acosta got the win.
Yeah.
Not only did he land more total strikes and more significant strikes, but landing to the head, I think, if the leg kicks aren't doing enough damage to stop you, then the head kicks are more significant.
I guess.
Like, do leg kicks suck more than a jab, for example? Fuck yeah, leg kicks fucking suck.
Yeah, those suck. We've kicked each other in the calves. Those suck.
Yeah, those suck. They're terrible. But that's not all that ended. It's not like Cortez just landed jabs. He landed hooks. He made more damage to the just in general to his face. He looked more beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, though, it was like a pretty close fight, I thought.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it went opposite ways of what we thought. We thought it'd be a quick knockout, quick day at the office, but no, it wasn't. It was a lot closer, and I think Jared Bandera is getting the boot after this because this is what 5 fights in a row that he's lost.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't keep that kind of talent around. We'll see him in Bellator.
Yeah, he's probably done for sure.
Yeah.
We also had a middleweight fight.
This was nasty.
Yeah, Josh Fremd versus Trejon Gore from the Ultimate Fighter. I think it was the Amanda Nunes season?
Yeah, it was the last season with Nunes Pena.
Yeah, so Trejon Gore, for those that don't know, he made it to the final of the Ultimate Fighter, didn't get to fight due to an injury. So then Brian Battle ends up fighting, I forgot who. I forgot who. Anyway, Brian Battle wins that fight. gets into the UFC. Trajan Gore comes to the UFC afterwards by like just an invitation, I guess, since he didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to fight in the
Him a
final.
one-off.
Yeah, he lost 2 fights in the UFC. He's still there. They give him this fight against Fremd and pulls off a nasty ninja choke, guillotine choke.
He
It was
was
kind of like a mixed, it was like some weird
looked like he was
variation of
trying
a
to hang
guillotine.
him, dude.
Yeah, dude, he almost
But
ripped his head off.
yeah, he did. I mean, Josh Friend went to sleep, but I know part of it was attributed to Josh Friend's height because he is a taller fighter than Trayshawn Gore. And I guess when he was trying to get out, he's a longer, taller guy. It just turned into a weird position. And yeah, no, the squeeze just took him out, and he just went to sleep. And
Dude, the way that Gore dragged, like he picked him up by his neck, it
mhm.
almost seemed like a flip, like
Like
the
a reverse
strength.
flip, yeah. It was strangling him. Let me
You
see here.
could have broke his neck with that, dude.
Uh-huh. Let's see. Do you have a picture of that? Oh, I sent you. That looked nasty. Look at that thing. You don't do that to people.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally yanking at it. It looks like he's like, able to elongate it. Like he,
Yeah.
I don't know, luxated
But
his
I didn't even expect
cervical
Trayshawn to
bones.
win. I didn't expect Trayshawn to win just because of record. You know, he's like 3-2, and Josh Fremd was like 9-2. I looked up his amateurs and stuff or his pro career. He had a little bit more experience, so I think he definitely could have won that, but he just got choked out.
He did
So
nasty. So yeah, I'm happy for him for Gore. Like, okay, you get a win, you stick around. Otherwise, that would have been pretty bad. Like the Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena finalist, no, didn't make it to the UFC.
the last fight on the main card, Khalil Roundtree against Dustin Jacoby.
Yeah, light
This
heavyweight
fight,
bout. So
this
Roundtree
fight.
came up. Yeah, let me hear it.
The judges are consistently inconsistent. That's the best way to describe this fight.
Yeah, Jacoby landed more strikes, man. More significant strikes. More total strikes. I yeah, it was a hard. I
The
wasn't
way,
even really mad at it, but
no, I mean, what Jacoby had volume, but Khalil's trees had more of an impact, if that makes sense. They were more effective.
and since they are judging based on damage as the number one criteria now, I think that's why Khalil got the fight
To win, yeah.
or the win. Yeah, I think that's why he ended up getting the win. Although it looked like Jacoby won the fight
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. I mean, it's
Yeah,
such a weird thing.
yeah, it was weird to me. I was just like, oh, I mean, what was it? It was split decision, right? Yeah, split decision. So two judges had it towards Khalil. The other judge had it for Jacoby. So yeah, like I say, consistently inconsistent. But I like Khalil. I'd like him to maybe try to get back into the rankings. So why not?
Yeah, he's got a sick Muay Thai game. He hits so hard.
He does.
He kind
It's
of
hard.
he wild punches though. He doesn't set them up that great. He just kind of, he doesn't set up his
Swings it.
wild overhand. He just swings it. Um, but if that thing lands,
It hurts.
yeah,
It's not nice.
he kicks really hard too. His
Oh,
calf kicks are crazy.
is it that oblique kick he does is nasty.
Yep.
But good for Khalil.
Yeah. So Khalil Roundtree beats Jacoby split decision.
Uh-huh.
In the prelims, I
I
was
mean,
disappointed to see
I think there's
the
only what ones.
the Arlovsky loss.
Yeah,
Naked choke to Delima was disappointing. First
yeah.
round submission.
I expected better from Andre
Me
because
too.
he's a veteran, former heavyweight champion, but even just like physically, I mean, yeah, what's his name? Delima, he's he's got knockout power. He's knocked out guys, but I expected Andrei Arlovsky's cardio to be the key factor in this fight. you know, like, oh yeah, Lima will be dangerous in the first round, but if you make it out of the first round, the fight would have been Arlovsky's. But you know, he got knocked down in the first round, and then he got his back mounted and actually choked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Disappointing. I mean, Arlovsky, the only reason that he kind of seemed, or I was a little bit excited, is because he has looked pretty good in his
He's
last
been
fights.
on a, was he like 4 or 5 win streak
Yeah,
before
he's been
this?
on a win streak before
Yeah.
this.
Look at this.
So,
2, 3. Yeah, 4 fight win streak.
yeah, so that was, you know, disappointing.
So I mean, what, he's 34-21 now. That's his record. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's 50 fights. But we'll see Andre again. I don't think this means he's
Retires
getting the boot. No.
I don't think so either. We also had right before that fight, actually, the prelim, Roman Dolidze versus Hayes.
Phil Hayes. That was nasty.
Yeah. First round knockout. Yeah, nasty. I mean, Roman looked great. Landed more strikes throughout the whole fight. I think Hayes landed a knockdown, or not a knockdown, a takedown. But wasn't able to do much with it.
The hands guy, I guess.
Ends up getting knocked out. The only other thing on this that I can think of on this card was the Chase Hooper fight.
I was gonna say the disappointing Chase Hooper. And then in the first round, minute and a half, Chase Hooper gets TKO'd by Steve Garcia. It looked like Chase didn't even show up to fight. He got hit with everything.
Yeah, he looks like he didn't have any striking. I don't know, like
he got punched.
He looked
a lot
sad. He looked like a defeated person after a while or toward the end. And I mean, round 1 knockout TKO.
He got finished. He
got knocked down 3 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got knocked down 3 times. By the end of it, was it Herb Dean? I think it was Herb Dean in that fight.
I don't know.
Either way, I don't remember. The ref should have just stopped it after the second one, but yeah, the third one he got knocked down. He was getting ground and pounded. He turtled up a little bit. So, yeah, no, I know. I was looking forward to seeing Chase Hooper win. He's a fun kid. He's young. He's 23. He's a phenomenal grappler.
Yeah, great jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, he's been exchanging wins and losses in his last 5 fights. So we'll see. He's what? I don't know.
And it's not like Steve Garcia has like the most impressive record. You know what I mean? He's also trading his wins for losses. He beat Luis Pena, Bob Ross, Luis Pena.
No, he lost to Bob. He lost to Violent Bob Ross.
Sorry, I misspoke. He lost to Violent Bob Ross. And before that, I think he had another.
People gotta look this up though. He looks like Bob Ross. We're not just calling him that. It's his nickname.
Yeah, his nickname is Violent Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
He also lost.
Fuck that guy. He hits women. Let's just say that too.
He's not on the roster anymore.
No, because he hit women. They fired him. But yeah, that was the biggest name on Garcia's record.
Yeah. Well, his loss. He lost to Luis Pena.
No, it was like his name though. So the one name, and he lost to that guy.
He beat Charlie Ontiveros, who I don't even know. I had to, when I'm looking him up right now, and I don't know who it is. Lost another fight against another guy I don't really know. Maheshate. Do I know this guy? No, doesn't ring a bell.
No? Okay. I don't know.
And then now he beat Chase Hooper. So that doesn't look great for Chase Hooper because, who has Garcia really beat? Right?
Couldn't tell you.
Sucks for him. Other than that, I don't really think I have much else that I remember about this.
Nothing more significant to the event. I don't know. I mean, let's see. I think the only other thing worth really kind of grazing over, Katie Taylor in boxing. They'd have a fight in Wembley against Argentinian fighter. What's her name? Cara Bajal.
Yeah.
It was definitely a landslide victory for Katie Taylor, as we expected. It was like maybe like 9 rounds to 1, but the we expected Katie Taylor to win because she's a beast. But the fun thing after the fight, she called out Amanda Serrano for a rematch.
Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano would be a fun fight to
Number
make.
two, number two, because
Yeah.
they did have their first fight at Madison Square Garden, the only women to make an event at that venue, which is historic. So I'm here for that. I'll rewatch that fight. The first one was a war.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'd what other, fight would be as exciting in the
Women's boxing.
women's boxing besides something with Clarissa Shields and I mean, yeah, I don't think anything would be as exciting as that one right now. I didn't watch that fight though. I don't know what the, you know,
Oh, that was a landslide victory.
okay, so she won convincingly.
Oh yeah, it was all Katie Taylor. Yeah, Carbajal had a few moments here and there, but Katie Taylor is just very precise. She has power and she's very precise. She wastes no punches. She's literally like a real life Mulan, I think. Well, yeah, no, I mean women's boxing was illegal in Ireland. She dressed like a boy, trained with boys. Then they were all like, "Holy crap, she's a girl. Let's make it legal." And now she's a worldwide known superstar of a fighter, a trailblazer.
That's a wild story.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's cool, man. I think other than that, there wasn't like, well, do you have anything else to add about the fight itself? Because like I said, I didn't watch it.
No, it was a one-sided beatdown, and I'm looking forward to the Amanda Serrano rematch because they both now had one fight after their fight, so they fought each other. They each defended their titles, and now it's back to let's fight each other. Why not? I'll
For
be
sure.
for that. Yeah.
A pretty good ending.
Mm-hmm.
Well, other than that, we do have a couple of weeks of to look forward to. Next week in particular isn't the most exciting looking card. You have Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos on the.
That fight was like put together, I think, in a hurry because they had Bryce Mitchell against, I believe, Ilya Tapura was supposed to main event next week, but that got moved to a pay-per-view card. So that went from a 5-rounder down to a 3-rounder, and they put up as best of a card as they could on short amount of time. I mean, is there any legitimate names on that card that
Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez is a fight that I actually would think would be interesting to watch.
Okay.
I do hope that Rodriguez takes that win. Not a Neil Magny hater or anything. I just think that he deserves it after taking the last minute switch during that Chimaev fight.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Daniel Rodriguez, yeah, they put him with the leech.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then
over leech a little bit too, but
yeah, good. Yeah, let's see another name on the card. We got Polyana Viana in the strawweight division.
Oh, I gotta give that shout out to Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista trains out of the lab.
Oh, okay.
Fighting Benito Lopez. That should be a good fight.
Okay.
I don't think it's main card, but I mean it's definitely not main card. But I don't know how low in the prelims it is.
Yeah.
But that'll be a good fight.
We've got a
favorite in that one.
Mark Madsen is fighting. He's a fun grappler to watch. Is he a Greco-Roman or Olympian?
Oh yeah, versus Grant Dawson.
Yeah.
That should be a pretty good fight too.
That should be a fun fight. That should be fun to watch. Otherwise, not really casual friendly. Watch it if you want. What day is that? The 5th of November. I mean,
you never know, dude. With these cards, you never know. Some fights.
Yeah, we can get some really cool highlight reel knockouts or finishes for sure. But yeah,
Chase Sherman versus Josh Parisian could be a pretty good fight too. It's flyweight division. That might be pretty much it though.
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't scream like but it'll be It'll be all right.
This card kind of blows. This card kind of blows, but
tell me how you really feel.
No. Yeah, there's not much to be excited about for that fight. It's like hopefully it's a lot better than we expected because our expectations are so goddamn low. So
Hey, the one time it was just a bunch of like journeyman fighters on the card. They had a lot of finishes.
That's the
So
thing, though. That's the
yeah,
thing.
that
That's why
happens.
that's why I watch all the cards. Sometimes you get surprised and like the cards with the least amount of hype end up being better than the previous pay-per-view
You
card.
get like a cool standout performance or something for sure. Yeah, so I'll be watching it, but I know next week I'm also excited to watch Dimitri Bivol against Surdo Ramirez for
Ooh,
the
okay. Yeah.
on the zone. Yeah, I don't know what time it is, but I think it's an early fight because it is from Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I like to see Bivol fight. This is his return fight after his victory over Canelo,
Mm-hmm.
fighting a legitimate, scary light heavyweight. So it should be a fun one too.
Yeah, who would you pick for that one?
I'm gonna stick with Bivol.
Bivol.
Ramirez is good. He's finished like his last like 5 fights, but I think he's recently gone up to that division. He was a little lower, but yeah, Bivol is a much more natural light heavyweight. So we'll see. Look up Ramirez's record real quick.
Yeah, that'll be a fun fight next week. I completely forgot about that. Um,
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, we boxing it's an easy sport to sleep on with so much that goes on and so many belts that they have. Yeah. No, yeah, see, no, Ramirez is 44-0. His last one, two, three, four, five. He's only had what? At least his last 5 fights were in light heavyweight. Before that, he was a super middleweight. So it's looking good on him, the weight gain. He does have a lot of power, and Bivol is a little more technical. He's got an amazing jab, so we'll see how they match up.
yeah, man, it should be fun. Um, Other than that, for next week, I don't think there's anything else going on next week. But the
New
following
York.
week, yes, Madison Square Garden, UFC 281, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Dude, I'm so excited for that card, and we'll talk about it next week. We'll do a preview about
Preview, we'll have
that
our
fight card
picks.
because
Yep,
that fight card is so stacked,
it is,
so
and
stacked. You got
I'll be there. I got my ticket. I'm going
Dude,
to
I
Madison.
forgot. I'm jealous. I'm hating. I completely forgot.
I'll
Fuck
be
you.
there.
No, I'm just kidding. But I do.
Anytime, anywhere.
I'm hating. I'm hating because I had such a good card.
I mean, I looked at it. I'm like, I gotta get out and about somewhere, and I said, "Hey, there's a fight in New York. Why not?"
Yeah, no, that's
So
gonna be
yeah,
cool, dude. That's awesome. Cause that whole fight card is stacked. Adesanya versus Pereira. You got Carlos Esparza versus Zhang Wei Li for
Whaley,
the
the belt.
strawweight championship, and then you got Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler, and that's a fun fight. That's a
That's a
really fun fight.
that's a hard fight. And we got Dominic Reyes. We've got Molly McCann. What else do we have? It's
Oh
a
yeah, versus Ryan Spann, huh?
He's on the
Dominic Reyes.
prelims. They
Let's see,
snipped
who
him,
else
and
you
they
got?
Dan Hooker.
Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar's retirement fight.
Oh, dang.
Uh, Renato Moicano, Molly McCann.
Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. You got Brad Riddell versus Renato Moicano.
You got
Aaron Blanchard versus Molly McCann.
yep. You got
Andre Petrosky, another guy from the Ultimate Fighter.
he's a killer.
Yeah. Versus Wellington Turman.
Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Matt Frivolo versus Otman Azatur.
That
Kat Kovacevic versus Silvana Gomez Juarez.
yeah, it's a fun card.
Even Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson is good. You got Carlos Ulberg. Dude, that whole card is stacked. That is such a stacked card.
They stacked up the rest of the year. Even 282, if you look at that card, I know it's December. That whole card is like top to bottom.
That's the
Talent.
Prohashko versus Glover fight.
We're still waiting on a John Jones announcement.
That John Jones versus Stipe Miocic fight. Oh, dude, that would be insane.
Jones has been tweeting he's ready to go. Supposedly Stipe is the one holding up, so we'll see.
Yeah, that would be so sick because they have a bunch of fights on that card that they just announced. They have Blachowicz versus Ankalaev,
Mhm.
and they have Paddy Pimblett is confirmed for that card against against Gordon. Jared Gordon.
Jared Gordon.
They have
Got Robbie Lawler and Santiago Ponzinibbio. The Bryce Mitchell fight that got moved. Alexander Gustafsson against OSP. Darren Till
versus Duplessis.
Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Like
Chris Dawkins. Billy
Alexander
Clark
Hernandez,
Silva,
your favorite. Your favorite.
Dude, they have Chris Curtis versus Joaquin Buckley on that fight.
Like these are stacked cards.
AJ Brown, Eric Silva. Yeah, this is stacked. Shabazian is on this card.
Fuck that guy. Nah,
Raul Rosas Jr., the teenage Mexican kid that just got
the one with the really big chin.
Dude, that's
he's on there.
sick.
They put him on there.
Versus Perrin, dude. That's a good fight. Oh my god. Where is this fight at? Vegas?
Vegas.
Dang.
What day is it? December 10th. Ah.
The week before the wedding, man. Oh, right before that, you got Thompson versus Holland.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a lot. But
that's a lot. We're gonna preview that next week.
Yeah, we'll preview the
281
Sanya card.
Yep.
Next week.
All right.
But yeah, I'm excited for that fight, man.
Yeah,
all right, dude. It was fun.
Peace.
We'll exit out of here right now, and then we'll come back next week and talk about that card and we'll go over the fight night. Okay. All right, dude. It was fun. I'll see you, man.
Fun times. See ya.
Cause they know I keep the pole out. When up in the club like 20 deep, I keep the Glock out. Shorty a tease, she running around with a top out. They ain't no ops when I pull up, I clear the block out. Kid man shorter, he'll break your jaw, call him knockout. Thought he a cheater.